Thank you very much, Assemblyman. Thank you and good evening to everyone who's watching. Thank you for joining us. I wish we could be together, but we will have to settle for the next best thing. And we've all done a lot of settling for the next best thing over these past 2 years. But that's how we've managed to keep each other safe, especially those loved ones who are most vulnerable. So did my dad in Hershey, Pennsylvania, my father and mother-in-law in Atlanta, and everyone else who's watching around the world. I'll see you soon. Happily, I had Khyati and Kedar by my side. Through thick and thin, Khyati is my most valuable sounding board and the true north of my moral compass. Today is the 4th time Kedar has held the Bible for me, but as some of you probably noticed, this is the first time he's done it standing taller than me. I'm so proud of the young man he's become. Thank you, Assemblyman Giblin, for being here tonight and for the honor of swearing me in. The lessons you've taught me about consistency and tenacity, of staying in the fight and sticking with the work even when it's hard and unglamorous, are an example for all of us. Thank you as well to all the other dignitaries in the virtual room with us tonight. Passaic County Democratic Chairman and State Chairman Emeritus John Curry, Vice Chairwoman Barbara Tanis, Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, Judge Capicella, Passaic County Clerk Danielle Ireland Imhoff, Passaic County Surrogate Zoila Casanova, and any others that I missed because they're not on my screen. Today's the Feast of the Epiphany, also known as Three Kings Day. So to everyone celebrating, and especially to the Latino communities that make Passaic County such a wonderful place to live and to eat. Feliz Dia de los Tres Reyes. Thank you to my friends Reverend Andy Smith and Mayor Hector Laura for beginning and ending this ceremony with words of faith. I took my oath this year, as I always do, on an open Bible. Closed Bibles are fine for waving around or holding up in the air at a rally, but a book's lessons are only found once you open it. This year I chose the 24th chapter of the Gospel according to Matthew. That's a darker choice than I've made in the past. In those passages, Jesus speaks to his disciples about wars and rumors of wars, of great tribulations and false prophets. But he also comforts us. All these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Those that endure unto the end, they shall be saved. The past few years have offered more than their share of tribulations, from the murder of George Floyd to the racial and economic disparities and how the COVID-19 pandemic is impacting American communities, to a bitterly fought presidential campaign and its aftermath, to the ease with which some now threaten violence against doctors, against school boards, against anyone with whom they disagree. The past 2 years have offered painful examples of the imperfections of our union. Today is not just the anniversary of the long ago arrival of the Magi in Bethlehem. As others have referenced, it is also the far worse and more worrisome anniversary of the violent and deadly attack on the United States Capitol by supporters of the former president, attempting to prevent Congress's certification of the free, fair, and democratic election of President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Historians are fond of pointing out that this was the first incursion into the U.S. Capitol since the British during the War of 1812. Far more troubling to me is that it was the first time ever that a mass of Americans invaded that building, having chosen to take up arms against our nation and against democracy itself. We had up until that point 54 consecutive peaceful transitions of presidential power. That vital legacy on which our national well-being and prosperity rests as much as on anything else is now reset to zero. We are in nearly unprecedented times of American political polarization. We need to seize any opportunity we have to bridge our political divides, at least those divides that are legitimate, fact-based disputes over policy, where our differences derive from the gap between truth and lies, or from the idea that some of us more than others are fully entitled to the fundamental rights Americans are supposed to enjoy. Common ground must be found not on the bridge, but on the terra firma of fact, science, and equality under law. At the local level, and in spaces like this, building bridges and rediscovering truth can start with a personal, human connection. At the national level, it must begin with an agreement to principles that do not give way to politics. The first of these must be free and fair elections, where the right of every American to cast a ballot and have it counted, regardless of their race, age, disability, native language, or the state that they live in. As Joe Biden said this morning, you can't love your country only when you win. I did not particularly enjoy the first 2 weeks of November 2021. I would have liked to have learned of my victory on election night, surrounded by my friends, family, and supporters, not 2 weeks later, surrounded by my lawyers. But in fact, I think this election coming at this time, with all that our country, all that our county and our nation have been going through, was an important reminder of how much is at stake. And that, in the words of abolitionist lawyer Wendell Phillips, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. And if you thought that was Thomas Jefferson, so did I, until I looked it up this afternoon. So let that be the star guiding us through this long night. And despite wars and rumors of wars, we as an American democracy will yet prevail. In closing, I want to thank my running mates, including Passaic County Surrogate Judge Zoila Casanova and former County Commissioner Assad Akhtar, for a great year together on the campaign trail. Thank you to everyone, including Governor Phil Murphy, our Senate, Assembly, and local running mates, and everyone who supported us with your time, your talent, and your treasure. I'm glad to be back with Sandy Lazara for 3 more years of service on this remarkable board, along with Bruce James, TJ Best, Terry Duffy, and Pat Lepore, and I'm pleased to welcome Nicolino Gallo. Nick, I hope we can work together for the betterment of all of Passaic County. Thank you all very much, and good evening.